I'm going to ask you this question now. I was going to ask you later, but I think it fits in nicely. Who's that one dream guest you want on your podcast?
I have two.
Go on then. You can go first. What Rhona thinks.
Sarah Balding, and because I just love her. I think she's class. Just everything that she does within the sport, I love. And Catherine Granger, because she's just like my childhood hero. First Olympic memories. I've met her several times. And she's someone, when they say never meet your heroes, she's one that you would want to meet because she's just so lovely. She has time for you. She's humble. Oh, she's like those two are my... I'd have to get Rhona to lead on it, essentially, because it'd just be there that...
To sat their mouth open.
Starstruck.
Literally, even at dinner today, Bonds was saying something about Claire Baldwin, and it was something like, oh no, she was like, sat down at dinner, was like, Claire Baldwin's watching the cricket. Everybody was like, Bonds, no one cares.
He was watching the 100, the women play, and I was like, oh my god, like, Claire.
Bro, have you not been watching the 100th?
No, like, I've been keeping up with bits of it, but I think Claire Baldwin watching the 100 is just, yeah, like, that shows how much, like, how much Bonds loves Claire Baldwin.
She's great.
Claire's class. Right, Rhona, who's your guest? And then we'll discuss the guest in a bit more detail after.
So I've been asked this before, and I said two as well, which is probably cheating. Maggie Alfonsey, because I think she's like an absolute legend, and actually, like, I met her when I was like 16, and she was like actually really influential in my rugby career, and she wouldn't know that. So I think I would just want to like tell her and fangirl over
thank
her.
You.
Yeah, just like, you're the coolest. Or Dean Asher-Smith, like she's she would be real cool. Obviously she's done incredible things, and she's had a hard time with the Olympics. Yeah, she's somebody that I'd love to talk to, and she seems like she's got such a like vibrant personality, which is always fun to have on the podcast.
Exactly. Bubbly people make good podcasts, because especially people that just run off on a tangent. You're like, great, I don't need to do anything for 15 minutes. I remember we had one of my first episodes with Tom Lindsay, the Bristol Bears women's, or former Bristol Bears women's head coach.
Yeah.
And he had so many stories, and obviously because he's like rugby lad through and through, I forgot that I was hosting a podcast, and he just spoke for like 30 minutes about an away day with Wasps in 2007. And he was like, yeah, and that's that story. And I just sat there and went, oh shit, I'm asking him the next question. Just frantically looking down. Like, they're the type of guests you want. Right, Claire Balding. We're going to talk about Claire Balding first, because obviously this is a divine passion / almost cultish religion following.
Oh my goodness.
Well, no, she's great, because she's like the original female broadcaster in a way. Like, she was doing it long before it was like a topic, and it was never a case of because Claire is Claire. It was always she's the best for it.
Yeah, she's like paved the way.
Mm-hmm. Like her at swimming, was it the 2012 Olympics she did the swimming, or was it was either 2012 or 2016? But she was phenomenal.
Yeah,
she's at every Olympics.
Yeah, 100%. Like Gabby Logan's probably like a close second to female broadcasting, but Claire is just like the original, the OG, just paved the way. And probably like, so I used to row before playing rugby, and she did a lot of the rowing coverage and still does.
Sorry, I'm fascinated by watching what Rhona's up to, because this is going to be a great viewing podcast.
Oh, people see this.
Yeah, it's been recorded.
No, I'm not going for a wee. I was filling water. I didn't realise that this
unacceptable.
I saw you go into the private room. I was like, if she's going to the bathroom, this is really going to change the tone of the pod. Like,
no, I just thought I could low key fill up my water while Bonds was talking about Claire Balding, because I knew that would take a while.
Yeah, in fairness, I do talk about her a lot. It's unhealthy.
All I can say is that it's definitely stayed in, like the video and the audio, just because it will make people go like, "What are they talking about?" But yeah, Claire Balding's the OG. Like, what's your earliest memory of Claire Balding?
Oh God, what is my earliest memory? Probably of her like Olympic coverage, or probably some random like horse racing. She did a lot of like horse racing commentary or coverage. Yeah. Not that I'm big into horse racing, but it was always on Channel 4. And like you just kind of flick on a Saturday morning, and just thought that even her like classic iconic hairstyle, which she's just like dogged for so many years, like I just think like as I've grown up, I just think she's a really good advocate for women's sport, done so much for the sport, loads of sports. Yeah, I just think she's great. Like I can't put it in any other words.
Right, Rhona, we're gonna mix and we're gonna go between again. Just right. So Dean Asher-Smith, why is Dean Asher-Smith one of the perfect guests?
Like just interviews I've seen of her and stuff, like she just always comes across so well. And obviously, like to be world champion, like to be the fastest woman on the planet, like that is incredible. And she seems so humble, and for that to be a British woman, I think like athletes like her don't, like, she's an absolute superstar. Like I don't think we get that. It doesn't come around that often in British sport. So I just think she's super cool, comes across well. Would love to know her story, because I don't really know like how she got into running or this, that, and the other. So yeah, I'd go with her for sure.
Exactly. Right. Catherine Granger, that's definitely the old rowing coming out in your bonds there. We're gonna talk about that later, but that's definitely the rowing coming out.
Yeah. So it would have been Athens, like really, really young. Remember sitting on the stairs watching it through, like the loungers here watching the rowing. And Catherine Granger, I think, had picked up her silver, maybe. And just, she's Scottish. She is like just done so much again for rowing, and I guess women's sport. She's now head of the UK sport. But not only that, the thing that I'm really inspired by her is that she was always a big advocate of having something outside of sport. So she's done a master's, got a PhD in, I actually don't know what it is. I probably should know, read her books. But she's got a lot going on outside of sport. And I guess from a point of view that you could have, touch wood doesn't happen, but a career-ending injury. And it's so important to have that backup and also have that switch off from something that you do day in, day out, 7 days a week for years and years and years. And I just think that she's just someone that I've always looked up to and admired for what she's achieved. I guess before Laura Kenny, she was the most decorated female Olympian. Absolute hero.
Good. And then finally, Maggie Alfonsey. What makes Maggie Alfonsey one of the perfect guests to get on the Women Who Sport podcast? So
obviously she's like rugby legend, so there's that. But I met her in, so when I was like, must have been like 16 or something, I played at it was called like the Sainsbury's UK School Games. And I was like playing for Scotland, and it was sevens, and she was there, and it was at like a time where I was like basically in school, like I didn't tell people I played rugby. Like everybody was like, "Oh, rugby's for boys." Like I did get like called a man and stuff for playing rugby, which like I feel so like silly saying now, but at the time I was like devastated that anybody could think I was a man. Then basically met her at the UK School Games, and like people were like asking her to like tense her biceps and stuff, and she was just like so confident and such good chat, and like had like a word with me to say that like I'd stood out in the Scottish team. And although it was like such a small thing, like that, like it meant so much to me at the time. And it was probably a time where like I wasn't quite sure if I was going to continue playing rugby, and that was something that like definitely made me want to. So yeah, I think how the way that Maggie was with me was how like I would love to be with like I guess the next MOP rugby players coming through. So yeah, I've just somebody that I've always really looked up to. And she's, like rugby-wise, she's done some incredible things.
All right, I'm going to quickly interject. I'm still going to go back and talk about the podcast, because that sounds like the best reasons to have anybody on the pod. And I'll definitely send you that clip that you can then just send out to all of them on like the Instagram DMs and be like, "We're really big fans. Please come on the pod." But so have you? Oh, sorry, carry on. People want to hear you talk, not me. You speak.
Oh, no, not at all. Sorry, I probably talked too much. But we've tried that before. So we had a podcast where we had Ailey Gibson on, who was a canoeer. And she was talking about how much she loves Catherine Granger. Then Bonar was talking about how much she loved Catherine Granger. So then basically I clipped it all together, and we were like, Catherine, come on our podcast. But I mean, I don't know how active she is on Instagram, but she didn't see it. So
I don't think she's that big on social media. I'm telling myself this anyway. She's probably on it daily.
No, you just got to just be relentless. Just spam. Just until they say no, they've not said yes or no. So just keep going. That's all you got to do.
But with Claire Balding, it feels like all of my pals have met her. Like Waz has met her, my friend Hannah that plays netball's met her, Lauren that plays cricket's met her. Like so many of my friends have met her, and I'm like yet to meet her. And I'm just like, it's so unfair. The world is unjust sometimes.
Has anyone had the cheek to like send you like a Snapchat video that have been like, "It's me and Claire hanging out"?
They'll send me a photo of them together, and I'm like, this isn't fair. Like. does this happen?
You've just got to start hanging about with like the guys and girls from uni and just be like, right, I know Claire Balding will bump into one of you, so I will be there when it happens. Following on from that point you made about Maggie telling you that you stood out and that really set your tone for I want to be a rugby player. Have you had any of those moments yet where like a young kid's come up to you and gone,